have to admit, I don't really have a sweet tooth, but I am very partial to a muffin or a cookie or some sort of a baked good. So that's what we're going to make today. I am going to make some cookies with my secret ingredient, which is hemp. Now, hemp is really, really interesting, and this product in particular is fantastic to add to your baked goods, but also into smoothies or anywhere where you want to boost up the protein and add a few extra nutrients. So this is protein extracted from those hemp seeds, and I'm going to use it in my cookies today. So I'm going to use about half a cup of my hemp protein. And then I'm just going to add all my dry ingredients here, my wet ingredients here, and then mix it all together. Basically, that's all you do. So I've got some rolled oats and some pepitas, and you can add whatever nuts and seeds you've got in your fridge here. And that's just some ground almonds and some almond meal. I just grind this up. You can either buy it ready ground, or I like to grind it up myself in my blender. So that's just some ground oats, and then some dark chocolate chips, or you can buy a big block of dark chocolate, chop it up yourself. Lots of antioxidants going in there from my dark chocolate. And then I've cheated a little, I'm using mixed spice, but if you want to, put in some cinnamon, some fresh nutmeg, a little pinch of cloves. Those are the sorts of spices that you want in there. And then you basically mix up your dry ingredients together. So I've got my dry ingredients all here. Now I want to add a bit more sweetness. I'm going to use some dried fruit, but I've already soaked my raisins. These are just raisins. Soak it in some boiling water for at least 10 minutes first, and then they'll plump up and be beautiful in your cookies rather than be a sort of dry part of it. So I've got my raisins there. So I'll just scoop out, I am going to add the water, but I'm just going to scoop out the raisins first, just to make sure that they mix really well through all my dry ingredients. Then my wet ingredients. My secret power, for some whole food sweetness, is from some nice ripe bananas. So a couple of bananas into my bowl, and just roughly mash them with a fork. So the really ripe bananas is what you want to use in your baking, and it's giving whole food sweetness. These are natural sugars, and you're still getting lots of fiber, potassium, other nutrients that are present in your bananas. Okay, and then I'm going to add in my extra virgin olive oil, and I've got about 1/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil. A little extra sweetness from one of my favorite natural sweeteners, which is maple syrup. And then just mix that all together really nicely with your fork. Pour it into the dry ingredients, and then give it all a good mix. So just have some water ready and add just a little water at a time. You don't want it to be too wet. So once your mixture is all nicely combined, it's time to get a little messy. We have to get our hands in there. So obviously make sure you have clean hands. And my little tip for doing this without getting in a complete mess is to start with wet hands yourself. Get your hands a little bit wet, and then literally take a spoonful of your mixture, form it into a ball, pop it onto the sheet, and then just flatten it with your fingers to make a cookie shape. And you can make these as small or as large as you like. So these are not going to spread too much on your baking tray, so don't worry if they're quite close together. You should get, depending on the size of your cookies, you'll get 10 to 12 cookies out of this mixture, and then it's going to go into the oven at 180 for about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour if your cookies are a little bit bigger, but keep your eye on them from about 20 minutes to make sure that they don't burn. So these are honestly my go-to healthy snacks. I've boosted the protein with my hemp protein. I've got the goodness of oats, a little cheeky dark chocolate in there, and honestly, these are just delicious.